Hey, it's Denise, and yesterday I had given myself permission to just take a day off with, um, like, day off. If I got anything done, I was just going to consider that like icing on the cake, because the thing I really needed yesterday was just some rest. I was not having a great day as far as how I was feeling, and I just kind of took it easy for the most part. Although I can't help myself sometimes. I just get up and fidget. And I did end up cleaning out a couple little areas, nothing major. I did organize a little bit in the kitchen, but for the most part, yesterday was about taking it easy. Trying to think, did I get any cooking done yesterday? I I got no, I did that the day before. Yesterday, I took it easy. Like I said, a couple little areas I cleaned off, little more packing and organizing, and that was about it. Got my white leggings on. Um, anyway, so today it was like, okay, I'm feeling a little better. I'm not going to stress myself out, but I'm definitely getting back on that I have things I want to take care of today, and I accomplished a few things. One of them, I don't know if it was a success, and I won't know till tomorrow till I try it. I did attempt to can rice pudding. Now, again, that is not an FDA approved thing to can, but I have seen people's recipes on it, and I was curious to try it, and instead of using dairy milk, I used coconut milk and almond milk. So we'll see how that goes. I went with 1.5 jars. They're like as wide as a pint jar, but they're taller. Because when I had seen other people's videos, it seemed like even though they're just using a third of a cup of rice in a pint jar, it just looks so packed right to the top. I thought, well, maybe if I use a 1.5 jar, I can put in a little more liquid, and maybe the rice will not look so compacted. And one person in their video did mention that when they serve it, it comes out a little bit dry, and yet put, either a little heavy cream or some milk or something and mix into it to give it to that creamy texture that you want rice pudding to have. So my genius thought on this matter was by using a jar that could give it more space, I could put in the almond milk and the coconut milk, and hopefully that would give it more liquid, more flavor certainly than water. The only seasoning I put in mine is cinnamon. I do put some sugar in it for sweetener, but as far as seasonings, I don't go nuts like with the whole pumpkin pie variety of seasonings. I just put cinnamon in mine. So it came out of the canner, and I was like, what happened? Like, the rice looks like a little compacted brick at the bottom, and then there was this kind of uneven looking, like my almond milk and my coconut milk didn't like each other and maybe had separated a little bit during the canning process. So as soon as the jars, after I heard them all pop, and I let them cool down a little bit, because I didn't want to risk the seals still being soft. I waited, gave an hour to cool off, and then I gave each jar a good shake to try to get that top layer of liquid. I was hoping the rice would actually loosen up from the bottom and mix in. That did not happen, but at least by giving them a little bit of a shake, I got the liquid part to kind of blend back together into what I'm hoping will be like when you pour the whole thing out, and I'm picturing myself having to get in there and scrape out the rice. I'm hoping when you pour it all together that the rice will blend in with the liquidy part, and it'll be good. Because my thought was, well, the whole point of canning it, at least to me, is having it shelf ready to serve. If I don't have heavy cream or milk handy at the time that I want to use it, then it's kind of useless having it on the shelf. So I try to can things that can be eaten right as they are, that you don't have to add more ingredients after you take it out. I mean, obviously, if it's a single ingredient thing, like I canned potatoes or I canned carrots, those things, yeah, but I'm gonna serve them with something else. It's not that they themselves aren't ready to eat when they come out of the can, because they are. So that was my brilliant thinking on the rice pudding, and I did put one jar in the fridge because I don't know anybody who likes their rice pudding at room temperature. I certainly don't. I like it cold. So tomorrow I'm going to try it. If it's good, great. I'll eat that one over the course of the next week or whatever. I'll keep it in the fridge and eat it. And if it's horrible, I will just consider it a learning experience, and I'll just wash out my jars. Dump the other stuff and wash out my jars and have them put away for hopefully a more successful project. Other thing I did, I had areas underneath my kitchen counter. I've described to you before, and I think I've shown you. Underneath, like, the center island are like rows of kind of like storage. I don't want to say cubes because they're not like perfectly square. In fact, they're more deep than they are particularly tall. 2 rows of them have 3, like 1, 2, 3, that aren't very tall at all. And then the far right has just 2. So those are taller. So today I got another one of those cleaned out. It had been, you know how like one of your kitchen drawers just starts out with specific things in it, and then before you know it, it's the catch-all junk drawer? That's kind of what had happened. So I got it back to being where all of my like food wraps, plastic wrap, aluminum foil, plastic bags in various sizes, everything from snack bags, sandwich bags, quart bags, gallon bags, parchment paper, freezer paper, and last things ended up there were both sizes of garbage bags, the large black ones and the smaller ones that I use more like for the bathroom, or occasionally I just use them to take laundry to the laundromat. Anyway, so I got that completely cleaned out and organized, so I felt good about that. And just now I was thinking, now since, I know I've mentioned this once or twice before, after you have the weight loss surgery, whichever surgery you have, now I had the vertical sleeve gastrectomy, while you're losing the weight, at least to me, the diet was a no-brainer. They told you what you could eat. I don't have a very exciting palate to start with, so I wasn't missing a whole lot of things before the surgery. During the month or 2 leading up to it, they have you following their low-carb diet, so you kind of break that carb addiction thing. So I'm not a big meat eater. So before the surgery, I had pretty much switched over to getting most of my protein from dairy. And the protein shakes and powders and any of the like prepackaged kind of low carb, products made for people who are having bariatric surgery. My doctor and dietitian don't really recommend, and this may differ by your doctor or dietitian, but mine did not recommend plant-based, so they were not looking for things with soy protein. So they wanted it to be dairy protein, so like whey protein. I could live on yogurt pretty much anyway. So, yogurt, cottage cheese, the protein shakes was no problem, and I lost the weight. When it became time for maintenance, okay, dietitian, doctor, me, we all agree that I'm at the weight that I want to be at and that I want to stay at. And, then the challenge was finding the right balance of calories and adding back in some carbs so that I would stop losing weight. So I was thinking today about something that I missed eating, that I used to enjoy eating quite a bit. Um, have You've probably seen them. They've been on YouTube for quite a while. Videos of people doing oatmeal in the refrigerator ahead of time. You just put like the quick oats, the instant oatmeal, put some in a jar, put some, the milk of your choosing. I use almond milk now just because I'm so used to it and it's so much lower calorie. You put some Greek yogurt, and generally that's like the main ingredients that everyone kind of has in common. And then there are variations. Some people add chia seeds. I don't. But you add, fruit or peanut butter or chocolate or, whatever you want to add to make it more appealing to you. And that was something I used to do. Like at the beginning of the week, I would set up like 4 or 5 jars of that. I would just make them all up at once. And now this is before I was even thinking about my weight loss surgery that I used to do this. So I was using powdered skim milk to add some protein to them. And I was using skim milk as my liquid then. It was before I switched over to drinking the almond milk instead. And I really enjoyed them. I would do like chocolate peanut butter, and I'd use the PB Fit, the powdered peanut butter that's had most of the fat removed. So I would put some of that in it, and then a little bit of cocoa powder and some stevia or Splenda, something that wouldn't add calories. And, you let it sit in the refrigerator overnight. And by the morning, you have the option of eating it cold, like the oats have soaked up the liquid. Give it a bit of a shake, and you have the option of eating it cold, more like a yogurt type of thing. Or you can heat it up and have it as like a really creamy oatmeal kind of a thing. And that was something that I used to eat for breakfast all the time. So today I was looking at how do I take that idea and make it fit into what I should be eating now. So first of all, I had to cut down the portion size. I basically cut everything in half. The recipe that I looked back at that I used to use called for half a cup of the quick oats. So I did 1/4 of a cup, and I did almond milk. Like I said, that's what I use now in terms of milk. I used, instead of a more fattening Greek yogurt, I used the 000 Greek yogurt, and I split one between, I made 2 jars of it, and I split one yogurt between the 2 jars. What I did do, because I wanted to bring the protein count up enough to make it count as a real meal, especially being that there's an acceptable amount, but definitely carbs, because of the oats. So I wanted to make sure I brought the protein count up. So I did use some Gene Pro. I've heard other people pronounce it Gen Pro. I look at the spelling, GENEPRO. If you've got the word gene, like as in genetics at the beginning, and considering that the stuff is, like made in a lab, it didn't grow on a tree, I say it Gene Pro. Anyway, a scoop of Gene Pro is 30 grams of protein. And being that there was already some protein in it, between the yogurt and something else that was in there that had some protein, I decided to go with half a scoop of Gene Pro. So 15 grams of protein it would add to it, which makes for a total, the yogurt adds, I'm trying to think, I think it's like, I want to say it's 9 or 10 grams of protein in the yogurt, so it was about 5 grams, because remember I split it in half. I used 1 yogurt for 2 servings of oatmeal. I wanted to make the jars a size that I could actually eat, and most of them are made for someone who has not had surgery. So like I said, I kind of halved everything as far as the recipes would go. So Gene Pro, if you know it, does not like to be mixed into very hot or very cold liquids. So I just kind of use the microwave to heat up my uh, almond milk. I use the unsweetened vanilla. It's 30 calories a cup. So I just heat it up in the microwave just enough that it wasn't hot by any means. In fact, it was barely warm, but it was just not cold. It was a little warmer than room temperature. So I used that to dissolve the Gene Pro in, and then added it to the jars. When I looked at it after all my careful measuring and stuff, I thought, oh, I put half in my freezer. I always have these bags. They look terrible because once you have them in the freezer a little bit, bananas turn brown, and it's like, what is in there? It's bananas. So I put half a banana in one, and then I put some cocoa powder in it. So it's like a chocolate banana. And then in the other one, I had a cup. I also in my freezer have frozen strawberries, and I put 3 strawberries in there. So I was not going to waste a real canning lid for something that's not being canned. So I used just the plastic lids that you can get for after you've opened your canning jar and you just want to, or if you're just storing something in it, you're not necessarily canning in it. So I just used those, and I gave the jars a good shake, and I put them in the fridge. Trying to think. I probably added maybe 2 or 3 ounces of additional almond milk to each one, because it just looked like, before I gave it that shake, after I put like the last ingredients, it looked like the oatmeal had already pretty much sucked up all of the liquid, and I didn't want it to be unpleasantly dry. So I did just put the couple extra ounces of almond milk, and like I said, with the calories as low as they are, I'm not worried about that. I'd much rather have, 15 extra calories. That would be if I had put a whole half cup in each one, and that was probably about a quarter of a cup. If you think about 2 ounces would be a quarter of a cup. So really negligible calories, and I just didn't want it to be too dry or thick, or the oats to be like not soft, like from not having enough liquid. And then put the tops on and gave them a good shake and put them in the fridge. So I'll be interested to see how that turns out also, having modified it to both the portion size and the protein content that I want in my meals. So tomorrow is really going to be a day of, I'll probably try the oatmeal for breakfast, and then I will probably try the rice pudding a little later in the day and see how that is. I definitely have higher hopes for the oatmeal than I do for the rice pudding. The other thing I'm doing today, now, this has nothing to do with getting stuff done, but it's important. I think I've mentioned before that I use the app Headspace. It's a meditation app, and I'm, no meditation guru, but I do find it helpful. I do find it helps you to be less stressed. It definitely, I find it very helpful, and I'm someone who did over the years a couple times try to learn to meditate, and I just thought I couldn't. But apparently when you have something that's, different things work for different people, and reading about something in a book and then trying to put it into practice when I went to meditate didn't work for me. Whereas listening to someone speaking to me through the meditation obviously works better for me. And then they've also got, these like short little 1 or 2 minute animated videos, like to help get a point across if it's something, that they can give you like a quick explanation of like a particular term or what they mean for you to be doing when they say something, so that if you're not familiar with the terminology, or some, if you have zero experience with meditation, which basically I did, it's just really helpful, and it also keeps it fun. It keeps it lighthearted, and for me, that makes it something that I look forward to doing every day. Okay, enough of sounding like I'm selling apps now. But one of the things, now I have trouble sleeping. I do have two sleep disorders. I have restless leg syndrome and I have periodic limb movements of sleep. Both of these things, before, there are people out there who are like, that restless leg syndrome isn't even a real thing. Well, neurologists and sleep specialists, physicians, doctors, people who went to medical school and then had to specialize and do additional training in sleep disorders would disagree with you. There's extensive testing, overnight sleep studies where you're hooked up to more machines than you can believe they can hook a human body up to. So that they're measuring everything from brain activity to breathing to muscle movement all over your body. The workup before I was diagnosed with these things was pretty extensive. And the thing that made me go for a workup was because I was having trouble staying awake in the daytime. So I didn't want to be someone who was just, the first treatment they offer you usually is basically stimulants, essentially amphetamines to take in the daytime to keep you more awake, which as a short-term fix so that I didn't get fired, because this was back when I was still actively working. As a short-term fix, like that got me through the shift at work, but it was like something is wrong because I was always like a go to bed early, wake up early, never someone to be like dozing or sleepy or having trouble at work. So yes, I went through the full formal process of getting diagnosed. So I do have those sleep disorders. Anyone who has a sleep disorder, or plain old insomnia, it is important that you establish a regular sleep routine. And that's something that I have really let myself slack off on. And that's also something that on Headspace, they do have a course. It's like, I believe it's a 10-session course. I'm only on like day 3. I just started it recently, on learning better sleep habits again. And a lot of it is stuff I kind of knew, but had let myself fall out of practice doing. And some of it is also meditation related, which of course I'm still learning. So I now have She Who Must Not Be Named, that particular Alexa who lives on the table next to me. I have her set at 8 p.m. to tell me that it's time to start winding down, which is, the term that they tell you to basically start doing an hour or so before you want to go to bed every night. I usually go to bed at around 9 o'clock, 9:30 the latest. So by getting that reminder every night, hopefully it will help me. Like last night was my first night doing it. Last night, I was still a little bit late. I had a couple things I had to finish, but I got them done within a half hour. And then instead of rushing my time, I was like, okay, I'm going to just be a little bit behind time, but I'm going to do what I want to do as my evening relaxing activity. And, they want you to start out by doing something you enjoy, but that's relaxing. And what I opted to do was go take a nice hot bath and just kind of enjoy the quiet, the peace, on the one hand, my son is not home this week. It's midwinter break, so school's closed, and he is visiting his brother. So my older one is 22, so my 17-year-old, that's his idol. That's who he wants to spend all of his days off with. So I took him down to visit his brother, so he's spending the week there. So yes, it is quiet, and me and the beagle miss him very much. But I was also like, hey, there won't be anyone knocking on the door the second I get into the bathtub, which is nice. So I'm going to make that as much as I can part of my evening wind down. So once She Who Must Not Be Named reminds me that it's time, which will be in about 15 minutes, I'm going to maybe sit and read for 15 or 20 minutes or listen to an audiobook. And then I'm going to go take a bath. sit and relax a few more minutes, take the dog out for his final walk, and then get ready for bed. I'm hoping if I can establish a routine, maybe I will have an easier time falling asleep. It is something you're supposed to do, but I've totally let myself fall out of the habit. So I'm considering that an accomplishment also, in terms of it may not be decluttering in the physical sense, but decluttering what's going on in your head is just as important. So the kitchen got some decluttering. The bedroom got some decluttering because I'm already starting to pack. I know I'm like ridiculous. I've got like 2 weeks before my surgery and I'm already worrying about packing. I can't help myself. I get like that. And also knowing that I have a friend staying at my house and that they will be having to stay in my bedroom. I want my bedroom neater and cleaner for, they're going to be staying in here. It's one thing for me to know, like, that side of the room is a complete disaster because it's kind of my staging area for where I'm putting stuff while I go section by section cleaning the other parts of the room. But I don't want my friend who's staying to feel like they're in a warehouse instead of a bedroom when they stay here. So I spent some time getting my room, working on my room a little bit today as well. So I did get some actual decluttering. I also went through my kitchen cabinets, and looked at some of the unhealthy foods that I don't need to have in the house because they just serve as temptation. Like 1 or 2 boxes of like cake mix or muffin mix, fine. That's a nice thing to have on hand in case you want to make something. But I was like, obviously these were on sale at some point because I have like 10 of them. So I made up a bag of things that I'm going to donate to the food pantry. I'm going to get like the sweets and that kind of stuff out of the house because I don't need to be eating that. I am continuing to try to come up with a recipe for some sort of corn muffin or other type muffin where I can replace some of the regular wheat flour with almond flour, which brings the carbs down and the protein up. And also, I would want to add some of the protein powder, the kind that's cookable, not the Gene Pro you can't bake. I mean, it says you can bake it, but only for 15 minutes. And I don't know of any muffin or cornbread that's going to bake in less than 15 minutes. So I do have another brand that I use. It's one that's intended to make shakes out of that does say that you can put it into your favorite like muffin or cake mix. So I want to keep working on trying to make a recipe that will come out that is healthy enough that I can consider it a meal if I want to have it for breakfast, but also not that I've messed up the texture or the flavor so much by adding what I'm adding and taking out the stuff that's unhealthy. So I'm still working on that. So yeah, I got establishing some good habits back into my life, which, like I said, decluttering what's going on between your ears is important too. And I got some cooking done. I got some packing done. I got some decluttering downstairs and upstairs done. And I'm going to call that a success for the day. And tomorrow, I'm just going to keep working on the kitchen and on the bedroom and trying to make progress with those. That's kind of my goals for tomorrow. I hope you're having a good evening. I hope if you're working on your own decluttering goals that they're going well. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. If you found any of this information helpful, useful, or relevant, please give me a like and think about subscribing and checking out some of my other videos. I will be probably doing a video sometime this week of going through my bags that relate to the video I did on beginning to prep. I have some of the stuff that's a little more advanced. It's not like those initial first purchase type items that I have packed up in a couple bags, and going through it was just going to be too long to include. And also the other video was more of a beginner, like what are some of the first things that I should be getting, especially on a tight budget. Whereas going through this other stuff, it's stuff that it took me time. Like, I've been doing this for about probably 2 years now. These are not things that I purchased all at once, but they are some larger items. And I just wanted to go through and kind of show people who are curious about what I keep as far as those type of items. But like I said, it would have just been way too long to try to combine it all into one video. So I will be trying to get a video done this week on what I have in those 2 bags in terms of prepping, in terms of water purification, being able to start a fire, being able to cook, and the items that I have put aside to be able to just quickly grab and have all in one place in case I needed those things. So again, thank you for watching. I truly do appreciate that you take the time to watch. I know there's a million choices, and I appreciate very much that you take the time to watch what I have to say. And I will be also giving a review of a weighted blanket, which I got recently, which I am absolutely in love with, I have to tell you. I got it through Groupon. If you're not familiar with Groupon, they do currently have them on sale, so you might want to check that out. Groupon.com. Kind of like coupon, but with a GR in the beginning of it. Groupon.com. That's where I bought mine. They do have them on sale currently, so you might want to check it out, like I said. And I absolutely love it. The only thing I don't love is the one that I got from them is not washable. You have to it doesn't have a removable cover. The smaller one that I bought elsewhere had a removable cover that you could throw in the laundry, whereas the one I got from them does not. And so it says just like spot clean it. And of course, the first day I had it, I got stuff on it. So I have ordered duvet covers to put on it. I also ordered a second one as soon as I got my bigger one. I love it. If you want, you can kind of, it's filled with glass beads. The little sections, like, that look like quilting, are filled with glass beads. This particular one, it's, I believe, 60 by 80 inches, weighs 20 pounds. So, like, when you put this on you, you feel like someone's laying on you, practically. It's like there is weight on you. And they've done studies that show that people sleep better with them. And I seem to be sleeping better with it. But, like, can you hear it? That's the little glass beads. You can, like, whichever little corner, like now they're settled here, you can feel there's these tiny little beads in there. And, like, I mean, you hear that? It's like if I had a sock full of quarters and was going to whack somebody over the head or something. So they're not kidding about them weighing 20 pounds. I will do a more thorough review and show you the whole thing. And like I said, I ordered a duvet cover for the ones that do not come with a washable cover. But please keep an eye out for my upcoming videos. And again, I appreciate your taking the time to watch. Thank you, and have a great day, great night, great weekend, depending on when you're watching this. Thank you.